So it's just about making all these processes work for you and for the team, so that there's so much more resources that you can put into acquiring new clients.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I'm here today with Martin Bool, a good friend and agency owner himself. And we're really excited to talk today about his video editing agency, a little bit of a different spin on what we usually talk about on the channel. But I'm super excited to have you on, Martin. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's good to be here.
Where are you calling from?
So now I'm near Lisbon, but most of the time we're based around London, UK.
Great, very cool. So from London originally, living in Portugal.
Yes.
With aspirations to move to Dublin. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That's on the plans.
Very cool. Good corporation tax there in Dublin or in Ireland.
Yeah. It's quite a good number of corporate advantages there. So
that's great. Very cool. So I have been using Martin's company for about a little over a year, I think, for multiple projects. And I've been super impressed with the work they're able to put out, with the time it takes and the quality. So there's just like unbeatable as far as I've found. Working with their editing team has been incredible. So Martin, give us a little bit of background on what you guys do. What is the name of the company and what services do you provide?
Yeah, sure. So we're called Editing Machine, and we are a full service, done for you video editing agency specialized in YouTube. So I understand that there's a ton of different video editing agencies and people offering this sort of service. But nobody actually specialized in YouTube, which is very different. YouTube is a beast of its own, and it takes a lot of expertise just to understand that and knowing how to use that effectively. And that affects all sorts of things to do with the editing. Plus, as well as just video editing, because we're focused on YouTube, we can offer all sorts of different services for YouTubers. So we're full service. So as well as just video editing, we can offer like thumbnails. We can create the banners. We repurpose content for other social media channels. We can upload to your channel. So we have publishing assistants, so we can write like effective titles, descriptions, tags, all of that sort of stuff. We can create like reports and analysis and do an audit of your channels. We can provide script writing, so if you're needing assistance on that side of things, and like so much more. I mean, it's just, if you need support and guidance, that's what we're here for. So
very cool.
That's exactly what we do.
And I mean, what you just described is like a huge suite of services. Your bread and butter and how you guys got started is just a monthly subscription editing plan is mainly what you do, right? With some graphic design for thumbnails.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So speciality is a fixed price, because due to the nature of YouTube, most people need to really just churn out content continuously. So the problem normally is that you either have to hire sort of a freelancer or a full-time video editor. Both can be very expensive or either very low quality. So there's a desperate need for some fixed service that everybody knows exactly what they're paying, and they're just getting like endless video content exactly as they need.
Very cool. And again, kudos to Martin and the team at Editing Machine, because for the price they do it at, it's extremely high quality. And I've tried everything under the sun when it comes to trying to find a good video editor. I've hired somebody completely full-time, like they worked 40 hours a week for me. I've hired individual freelancers from overseas and in the US. I've tried almost everything, and none of it worked as well as Editing Machine, like even having somebody work for me full time. So that's a pretty big compliment, I think. Yeah. And
that's great to hear.
Kudos to you guys. So tell us your background, Martin. How did you get started? What did you do before starting your agency? And then how did you get those first, 1, 2, 3 clients?
Okay, sure. I mean, all of this is based on about 15 years experience working in television. So I used to be a television director. I focused on sort of live studios, multi-camera directing. I've done a bit of everything, so including sort of cameras, sound, post-production. And from there, I've kind of found this this kind of inspiration from YouTubers. As I've seen the quality of YouTube increasing like dramatically, it's getting to compete with television. Like, and I think very soon it will be that sort of standards where there'll be YouTube studios creating that sort of content. So it's rapidly getting there, but I just saw so much need for help, like, because people are kind of thrown into this this role of being a content creator without necessarily knowing exactly what they really need to be doing and how to be effective. So that's kind of the inspiration behind this. I mean, like I said before, there's a ton of other agencies offering video editing, but to specialize in YouTube, that I haven't seen anywhere. So that's exactly what I wanted to create.
Very cool. And it helps you as well as the owner, the agency owner, like not only hone in on what the issues of the YouTubers are and help solve those, but also, like, I think it's probably a lot more stable for you guys because YouTubers have to produce content so much. Like, you know, there's not a ton of businesses out there that are like, that would get somebody on a retainer for video editing.
I mean,
and if they
exactly
did, it might, you know, they might just need freelance projects every once in a while or whatever it is. So very cool. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, from a business perspective, the part of like a freelance project, there's always so much time that's wasted learning about the client, learning about the project, understanding what they really want, creating something, realizing they wanted something else, and then relearning that again, redoing it. As a production workflow, there's just so much time wasted in that sort of freelance project by project, that project one at a time the concept. So working with clients long term, we really get to know exactly what they're looking for, and the production workflow is so much more smooth and seamless. So it's
nice.
It's
and you're working in like even just because you're doing YouTube, like there might be different styles within YouTube, but you're working within a box already. And then you're like, hey, inside of this box, where do you fit as a YouTuber? Very cool. Yeah, very, very cool. So tell us, you like admired YouTube from afar, being in television, kind of saw the vision that this was going somewhere. How did you get your first one? Well, how did you get your first client?
A lot of free offers. Like, just I think to get any business started, you need to just do a lot of work for free and just take a lot of risk. So it really, really helps if you know that particular skill, because the core skill you're not going to be outsourcing in the beginning. So knowing that, so I mean, I was able to edit and I could do the thumbnails, and I did everything myself in the beginning. So I was very, very focused on creating that sort of standard and doing that myself. So in a way, I was very fortunate that I didn't need to be paying somebody and relying on other people and learning that in the early stages. So I think it's very important, if you're going to be starting an agency, that you really understand that core offer. Like, whatever it is you're doing, you can fulfill that yourself if needed. So that's exactly what I did. So just creating a product, creating an offer, and just start like emailing, just start trying to, I mean, I understand it's going to be different for every different business, but you just need to somehow get in contact with the business owners. YouTube is great because, you know, every channel has the email on the About Us page. So that's fantastic for us.
And you know, it's got to be a verified email, a good email.
Yes, exactly. So
cool.
That's great for that.
Yeah, I love what you said about knowing the skill, because I mean, everybody, like a lot of other people that teach about agencies, will say, oh, you can just hire somebody else to do it. And although that is something that could work, it's sort of like my team is coming to me and saying, hey, the Facebook ads aren't working as well as we want them to on this account. And if I've never run ads before in my entire life, and this person that I hired 3 months ago has more experience than me, I'm not going to know how to help in that situation. And I think there's a lot to be said for learning the skill, trying the skill out as a freelancer at the beginning, like getting your feet wet in that way, and then hiring, because you'll have so much more context and you'll be able to manage a team better because you've gone through what they're going through at that point. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's completely right. I mean, I've built up a whole team now, and I mean, even from your very first hire, that person is going to be looking to you for leadership, like, and guidance, because it's your, your brand, your reputation, your offer, and so you really need to be the one guiding this. You can have nice ideas, but if it's not really feasible because you don't really know that skill, then there's I think there's so many possibilities for that to go wrong.
Yeah.
And when you're the one leading a bigger team, you really need to know that, like, maybe you don't need to know, but I think it's a huge advantage if you are the one that is able to teach, to show, to guide, and say, look, this is what we're going to do, this is what we don't do, or I like this, or I don't like this, and kind of guide them, lead them, and as well be an advisor for the clients. So for both sides is very important.
Very cool. And when you were in television work, were you doing a lot of editing or more on the production, like project management side?
A little bit of everything, really. I mean, live visual mixing and directing is effectively editing. So that is a skill you need to know. Like, you've got 50 different television screens in front of you, and you're selecting which one to use, when to use it. You're guiding the presenters at the same time. You're giving audio cues. Like that is editing. But it's just much more intense because it's live. But that's something that, as a skill, and as I learned that skill, I realized this is basically editing, and it's very, very similar to what we do now on Premiere. It's the same skill set, but just a different method of doing it. So what I try to understand, what I try to teach my team, is how to not just be an editor, because an editor just uses the tool. You understand the software, yeah, that's great, but do you know what to do with, like, how to make the creative decisions, what to do, know exactly how to make that tool effective for purpose. So there's very different things.
Very cool. Very cool. So you started out doing free work, and I assume you got your first 10 clients that way, like doing a free project for them and then putting them on retainer after that.
Yeah, I mean, like the start of any business, it's a huge amount of hours, which nobody sees, of course. You just kind of see the finished result, but like so many, like, overnights, just working until your eyes are red and just making something that you can kind of put together as an offering. So, and trying to fulfill everything. Like I said, I was doing everything in the beginning, so like I had so many hours, and a lot of it was for free. Yeah, I just kind of wasted that time effectively. But I think a lot of people are scared of that, and that's why they never make that first move. Because if you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm not going to get paid, or it might be a big risk, then you'll just never get rolling. Like, no matter what business you do, you have to take a risk of either money or time, or both. So that's what I had to do in the beginning, just a big risk of time, especially because, I mean, I didn't need to outsource because I was doing the work myself. So I didn't have a huge expense, but it's a big investment in time. Yeah.
Definitely.
Free trials. Yeah. And I got, Trevin was one of my first, Trevin.
Yeah, great.
And it's just basically emailing, saying this is what I do, and Trevin got back to me as well, and he said, yeah, this is great, and he kind of signed up with the offer, fixed price, unlimited video edits. That's, for a YouTuber, that sounds great. So I kind of realized, all right, there's a little bit of there's a bit of attraction to this. So I think this can work.
Nice. Very cool. Those who don't know Trevin Peterson, you can search him on YouTube. He's a personal friend of mine. That's how I heard of Martin. Very cool. So how did you transition from offering free trials and then getting them onto the paid plan once they liked it to just pitching the paid plan and getting people on board that way? Or did you? So,
I mean, in the beginning, it was kind of like I had to be very generous and just give a lot for free, because also I was learning about what they really wanted as well. At the start, I wasn't really trying to just generate sort of as much money as possible. I think that's probably a very different business. I mean, there's probably some like that, but at the early stages, it was just create an offer, learn what people want, see how to refine it, and then see how I can slowly start to build a team. And then I get the first hire, then I can start to focus a little bit more on the clients, the offering, the marketing, the sales, that aspect of it. Because in the beginning, like doing everything is just like, it's so exhausting and so restrictive.
Yeah.
And I think that I probably held on to that too long, because I'm like very, very controlling. So I just wanted to do everything myself for a bit too long. But yeah, I eventually kind of learned how to delegate. And then just start to increase the prices. So yeah, instead of just minimal prices, I think it was like $360 something, like for a month of editing, like unlimited.
Wow.
So it wasn't really about the money, but you just kind of learn the business, learn the product, slowly get the right sort of margin that's possible, get that right balance between what people are looking for and what is feasible as a business. And then just slowly build it up from there, really.
Nice. Very cool. And but the pitch that you did, like, did you eventually change your emails from, hey, I'll do a free edit for you and see if you like it, to, hey, these are our plans, visit editingmachine.com to learn more?
No, I mean, I always had the website from the very beginning. I bought, like, probably too early, I bought the domain, I bought the brand. I typically do this, like I've tried to start many, and I have had many other businesses in the past as well, which didn't really progress just because I was so focused on that kind of that website building, that branding, that like I built the perfect business models, the financials, like everything. It was beautiful businesses, but I never really got any traction with them because I was focused on the wrong thing. So this one, I had a website and I made the offers, but I didn't just focus on that. So I think it should be, I don't know, maybe like 10% planning, 90% action.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the only really real way. So, which is difficult for me because I'm a perfectionist.
But my question is, how are you getting clients today versus when you did, if you got clients 1 through 10 through free trials, did you get clients 10 through 30 in free trials as well? Or are you just starting people out on a paid plan nowadays?
No, I mean, so the website and the offering is kind of the same, really. We don't do the free trials because that's not like feasible anymore. Although we do have a single video edit for like $35. So it's very, very similar. So people can try our service. Nice. Just without the monthly commitment. So that's probably like what I was doing before, back in the day, but I was just completely free in the past as I was learning. So yeah, we do have something similar, but everything else is pretty much the same. Like the format of one monthly fixed price plan. That's the same. I kind of learned that's really helpful to people, and that's what people wanted. So I didn't really change this.
Nice. And are you still doing a lot of like cold email outreach to get people on board, or is it mostly referrals at this point?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I just went nuts with like outreach, just blasting cold emails, which we still do. But there's a mix of other elements now that we are, a bigger company. I've got a marketing guy. I can, assign an amount of budget towards advertising, creating sales pages. So there's a lot of different elements. We've still got the core aspect of, just emailing YouTubers. That works. I want to get into affiliate marketing very soon as well. So nice. I'd say it's very similar, but it's just as the company's grown, we've just got more channels to play with.
Nice. That's great. Are you going to start an Editing Machine YouTube channel?
I've been thinking about it. Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I'm not sure. I still don't know about this. I think, I don't know. Do you think that would be
I think there's
that
massive
people would like to watch?
Yeah, especially because I mean, there's tons of people selling courses, right? Like how to grow your YouTube channel. But if you guys have the service, and then eventually, I'm sure with time, you'd be able to build out education as well. It's such a good way to monetize it. And there's like all these channels that just sell a YouTube course. Like they talk about how to make good videos on YouTube, how to grow on YouTube, and how to make a course, or how to, sell the course about how to do that yourself. Yeah. And then
just sell everyone the course.
Yeah, none of them have like this back end offer that's video editing. And I think that would be very cool.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
if you could get
it's
in
possible.
bed with, not in bed, sorry, that's a bad analogy, but if you could if you could work out a partnership with, like, this is your affiliate marketing play, with the people that sell courses and say, hey, if you need an editor, you know,
Yes.
imagine Ali Abdal shouting it out in his course,
Yeah.
or whoever else in their course. That'd be very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have thought about this. I mean, so far I haven't really had so much time on this. So I mean, we're kind of rearranging some things at the moment in the company. So
Mhm.
I've got like a lot of these ideas just on the back burner at the moment that I'm
I
going to
bet.
put into play. So over the next few months. So yeah, maybe we could look into sort of YouTube content, actually making
Yeah.
that like tutorials and something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You do great. You do
Affiliates,
great.
that definitely is an affiliate scheme for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Approaching digital, marketing agencies and other sort of agencies that have the clients but don't offer that, YouTube as a
Smart.
service. So partnerships like that. These are all things that I want to try and get into very soon.
It's great. It's very cool. So you guys you obviously have like a very service heavy business. Like, the editing videos is not like a super leveraged task. Like, you have to go in and you have the software which makes it leveraged. But when I set up a client ad account, I set up the campaign, and like, I mean, we do have to go in and make edits every once in a while, but it's leverage where I launch the ads, and hopefully I only have to make a change once a month and they stay with me for years. That's the ideal
Okay.
situation. It doesn't always happen that way, right? So I'm interested in how you've managed your team in such a way, to make sure you remain profitable while offering a good price point, which you guys do. So let's start like the whole story of how you started your team, like who was your first hire, and at what point, and then how did you get to where you are today? So let's start with how many clients did you have when you outsourced, or you hired your first employee,
Okay.
and what did they do?
It was so the first one was more of an editing assistant, because I was still like really holding on to that control, but I was just out
Okay.
of time. So I just needed somebody just to help out. And then I would just kind of finish off the edits myself, and I'll do all the finishing touches, make everything nice.
Nice.
So that was, yeah, and that eventually turned into a full-time position. So I had somebody else that was kind of taking a lot of that pressure off of me. So
And
that was the
the
first main
editing
thing.
assistant would do like do the A cut, get rid of all the ums and buts and all that, and then you'd go in and
Yeah.
do all the graphics.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they
Type
would like they were still very skilled, and I loved their work, and they could do like effective, find effective B-roll, some motion graphics as
Mm.
well. But it's difficult. I mean, when I've been working with a client for so long, you kind of get attached to that, and I think detaching was the difficult thing when I've kind of been their editor, and they kind of know me as their video guy. So making that sort of transformation from like this being a solo operation into a team, I found that
Mhm.
very difficult. Like that was
Yeah.
tough for me.
And it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine it was way more in your head than the clients actually caring whether it was you doing the edits, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, yeah, it's just that attachment. I mean, that's something that I know not everyone's going to have, but it's just for me. I'm just that controlling. That I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to
It's
just
really
do it
tough. I
myself.
remember the first time I hired, it was like this huge jump for me. It just felt like completely out of my comfort zone. I had no idea
Yeah.
what was going to happen. And then I took like a vacation for the first time since I'd started my business for like one day. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, somebody else is working and I'm hiking, it was very cool.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you hired the editing assistant, then they
Yes.
eventually became full-time editor. And then what
Yeah.
did you do from there?
So then it was just a gradual build up from just one at a time. A graphic designer, another editor, focusing on the training. Kind of, I mean, it sounds easy to say, but it's been a very bumpy road. Like there's just so many letdowns. Like in your mind, you think, oh, okay, I'll just do this like another 10 times and I'll be great. But
Yeah.
it never works like that. Like
Yeah.
so many people just let you down all the time and just give so many headaches that it's tough. It's really, people management is probably the most difficult thing.
Yeah, it's a completely different skill than video editing. It's
Yes. Yeah.
you can be the technician in there doing the work, but coaching other people on how to do it and managing their emotions and like motivating them and helping them focus on the right thing is totally different. What have you noticed? Like, what lessons have you learned along the way when it comes to managing your team?
I think the biggest lesson is to focus on training, like actually spend some time, like invest in them, and spend time with them, and to not assume that they know what you want, because they don't. You just kind of introduce them in, throw them into this role, and you have expectations, but they don't know that. So that side of people management, I learned to really train them to really focus on explaining, even just write it down as like as formats or policies and things like this. Just really explain who you are, what you're doing, like what you want them to be doing, and what's the consequence if they don't do that. Because it's just, you can explain things to people, but sometimes they just don't get it or don't care. That's fine. I understand. Why would they care? But sometimes you get people like this, and just whenever you're hiring people, you're trying to build a team, I think it's just very important to keep in mind they have no idea what you want and what you're trying to achieve. So maybe you could summarize that into having an objective, have a mission statement, have some sort of common goal that you're working towards. Like a lot of these very successful companies are originating towards one unique goal, one collective goal, and they're kind of sharing that mission statement with their whole team, and they're building big organizations all working towards that same thing. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, very cool. I want to go back. I forgot to ask this question earlier. Let's say somebody's starting out, they're a complete beginner, 18 years old. They don't have any relevant skills, like no marketing skills, no video editing skills, no anything. How would you recommend they get started in their own business?
To do the same thing, like a video editing agency?
Yeah, some kind of agency. Let's say they want to start some kind of agency. How do you recommend they learn the skill?
I would recommend, like I said earlier, focus first, more than anything, is just know that skill yourself. So take time to do a course. If it's something that you don't know, learn about it, invest in yourself. That's why I mean, don't do this if you're desperate for money or something. Like if you're in a desperate situation, go and get a job, just get off the heat first and build this up properly. Because I think that's just going to put you in much bigger problems than you are already. So as long as you have enough time to build that sort of agency without that pressure, then learn it first, then action it first, then you're doing actually serve clients, selling that offer. Learn what is what is in demand, what are people asking for, ask questions, find out what people really want, and learn that marketplace that you're really targeting. Maybe start to slowly form a more official offer, like a website, a brand, say, oh, hi, we're this company, this is what we do. Then make the move into delegating to a team. So I'd go in that order. That's
spoken from the fire of actually having gone through it. You can tell.
I mean, there's probably a million different ways, but that's what makes sense to me. And if I were to start again, I'd do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, got it. So what's your plan to double the client base right now, both from a marketing perspective and a retention perspective? So
in terms of marketing, it's really about systemizing everything. Actually, but for both aspects, in terms of fulfillment as well. I think you shouldn't start with systems, but when you get to a certain point that you have, you figured out exactly what you're offering, you've got the figures right, you've got that right formula, then you need to start implementing systems. So much of this manual work is just a process. Then you can start to kind of treat this like a scalable business where you put in $1 and you get back $2 or whatever. So once it's that sort of once you've got that core agency model, then you can start to work on the marketing as a like as a system.
Its own process. Yeah, its own system.
It's a marketing machine. Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And it's similar with the fulfillment as well. Like create a system for training, create a system for the recruitment. Whereas, normally this is just a manual process, and you'll go write an ad and you'll go hire someone and train them up. That can be systemized. So it's just about making all these processes work for you and for the team, so that there's so much more resources that you can put into acquiring new clients.
Very cool. And when it comes to hiring, you guys, your team you have an office. So how many people are in the office with you?
Yeah, so our office is probably, I think it's about 12 at the moment, plus actually a few more coming in this week. So like 13, 14, 15.
And they're all editors.
No, that's a range of different skills. So now we're going to bring in actually other people that are not editors, like, for example, the marketing, like I was just saying about the like getting other people to do like sales outreach. Before, this has kind of been shared around, and kind of I do this, and we're at the stage that we really need to have somebody dedicated to that. I have a dedicated marketing guy that is just focused on that. Like we're really experienced, and is doing such a great job. And I think that's the stage that we can then kind of stop multitasking and bring in specialities. And I think that really helps to drive forward any business growth, when you can get a specialist in the right place at that right time, and they'll drive the business a lot for you.
Very cool. What's made you, so you've got those 12 people in the office with you. How many work remote?
At the moment, most of our work is kind of, it's spread across so many different countries, really. Like around the globe, we've probably got like the same amount virtually. But that's the part that I want to be scaling, because it's difficult to scale an office. But like software companies, they grow so fast because they don't have that, like they keep the team so small that they can just explode in growth. So I think that's an advantage that we can take, we can make the most of, because there's so many people that are working virtually and remotely, and that in itself can grow very fast.
Very cool.
So
that's great.
Yeah, it's difficult to expand like physical locations. So I don't want to really focus on that too much. But it is important, but definitely I think working remotely, and like especially in the sort of world that I think is going to be like probably on and off virtual remote compulsory working from home in the future, probably.
And all your clients are going to be remote anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So that's a new aspect of the business that we need to really focus on. Like we do it now. Like we're a completely global team that's kind of part location based, part virtual. But to really get like triple, like or 4 or 5 times the size we are now, we really need to work hard on effectively managing people remotely.
Cool. So, and the other thing that we talked about one time that really surprised me, you guys have like a double, like every video is reviewed by someone on your team before it goes to the client. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which
it's going to be 2 people soon.
Wow.
We're changing this around. So I've got like we're going to have like more of like a technical analysis, so that basically one of the editors is a senior, will be managing the technical aspect of it, which will hopefully, like with that sort of focus and speciality, that we'll have a bit more attention to detail, as well as a client manager who will be serving the clients a little bit better. So that we're kind of splitting this role. So there'll be 2, the 2 kind of reviewers of the service of the video before client even sees it. So that's something that we're changing.
Very cool. So the workflow for you would be like, the client sends in the edit with instructions, editor takes care of it. Then it goes to the first reviewer who is like, hey, we need to change this, or this needs to be cut out. So reviews anything that the editor might have missed. He makes another edit, and then it goes back to this guy again. and then it goes to the client manager and he watches it and then they hand it off to the client?
Kind of. We've actually got the editor split into different gradings.
Okay.
So that we have assistant editors as well. So they will normally do the A cut, and they'll just kind of trim everything along, get the timeline prepared for a creative editor. So that's how we can kind of make this whole system efficient, because instead of just relying on one editor to do everything, we're a team. So why not utilize the team? We have a specialist as a team leader who will look at the project first and assess, like how long will this take, what's needed, do we need any motion graphics or animation specialists for this? Do we need to get this to the graphic designers? So they're kind of the director. They're organizing everything. And then once the A cut has been done and it's all been prepared, then it goes to a creative editor. And then from there, they'll do their thing. They know the client very well. The result will be assessed technically. If that passes, then it goes to the client manager to send off to the client through the client portal. So there's a lot of people involved. So at every stage, I'm kind of bringing more people into every video edit. Like, it's getting more complex.
And how do you make sure you're staying profitable and like that your gross margins are maintained with such a robust team for every single edit going through?
I mean, yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's only been possible now as we're at this stage. Before, like, I can imagine this because it would just be so expensive to have so many people, and it's just not viable. So, that's only possible with a certain client base, and maybe in the future we can bring in, include even more people into the projects. But yeah, I mean, margin. We're not really like a high margin business. We're not like a software company. We're a service agency, and like, people cost money, and there's a lot of expenses involved. So
definitely, but some economies of scales helping you out there. That's great. Cool. With the time we have left, I actually want to pivot a little bit. And if there's any YouTubers listening to this or aspiring YouTubers, what would you say? Like, what pieces of education could you give to somebody for wanting to grow their channel or start a channel?
Okay, I would say try this out first, because a lot of people dive into YouTube without trying YouTube. Like, and they'll even hire us. Like, we've had people that have never started a channel before and hire us straight away. And although it's that's great for us, I actually don't want new YouTubers, because it's normally people that come to us all excited and enthusiastic about, I'm going to be a YouTuber, and after 4 or 5 edits they quit, or it's not really what they thought, or they can't justify the cost because the channel is generating no income. So I would advise people to just try it first, even just on a very amateur level, just with your phone, just try it out, see if you're comfortable talking to a camera, because it's weird, it's pretty unnatural. See if you like it, see if you get on with it, see if you get any sort of traction, if people are interested in what you're saying, because that's another tragic thing where people go so wrong. I think you said this before as well, like, it's people feel like that people will naturally be interested in what they have to say, and that's not true. Like, maybe people will be interested or not, it depends. But it's wrong to make that assumption. So just try things out, start, watch the comments, get feedbacks, see what people like, what they don't like, see how you can shift your channel, see how you can start to monetize your channel. Then you can start to, take it up in stages. Then outsource the editing, see if you can get an agency like us or a graphic designer to build your thumbnails, something like that. Take it slow. That's my best advice.
Got it. Very cool. And from a technical perspective, is there anything that you recommend for video edits or for, SEO, thumbnail, that kind of thing that would help somebody looking to grow their channel as well? I
mean, there's a ton of information. You could just search this stuff on Google or YouTube, and there's pages and pages of advice of people telling you about the tags and the titles and your thumbnail, every sort of aspect. every technical detail that can be worked out to improve your stats. But it's so easy to get lost in all that world, and then you actually forget about the content itself. And I follow exactly what you say. I agree with you completely. I've heard you say in the past that it's like pretty much everything is just about the content. Like you could have like really bad thumbnails or titles that don't make sense, but if your content is like that's the core of what you're offering, and if that's not what people want, then it's never going to perform well. So all these other details and the technical aspects are important when you get to a certain level. So don't focus on that too early. Just like really great content, gives so much value to people, and the rest will follow. So don't just go sort of chasing the tiny little increases when it doesn't matter. Just stick with the core of content creating.
Very cool. Love it. So let's hear, this is the last question I have, unless there's anything else you want to say. If you could go back and tell yourself on your first day of starting Editing Machine, any piece of advice now, what would you say?
Let go of control. Like I did this, like I was just too controlling, and that really held us back. It was kind of good in a way because I really understood the service, and I was able to get the standard side, but I didn't need to. Like I should have grown the team much faster. Focus on it would allow me to focus on sales, and I would probably have a much bigger company, and would have a bigger team now. So if I could start again, definitely let go of control.
Nice.
Like sooner.
I love it. You know what's interesting? I was talking to an agency owner. They do I think $500,000 a month, like very, very big. And he said they just spent the first 3 years like nailing down processes and like getting really, really good and obsessing over their reputation. Like, how can we just be the best ever? And then after 3 years, they niched down and just like took off because they had all these things written out. So I think that goes in line with what you're saying about it being a beneficial thing. Like you obsessed for a long time over these things that you needed to control. And yes, it held you back, but it also has made, me a very happy customer and a lot of other people happy customers. So it's just about finding the right balance. Like a lot of people aren't okay not making much money for 3 years while they try to really nail down the best fulfillment processes. But if you're in this for the long term, maybe that's the right decision. It's just to spend as much time as you can learning. But then again, if you only have a tiny client base and you don't test it out at scale, like the awesome processes that you put together at the beginning are just going to break the minute you get 10 clients.
Exactly. I mean, it depends on, I guess it's very individual. It depends on like your own circumstances, what market you're entering into. Like, do you know the market? Like, or do you need time to test out this new idea? Like if it's some new genius idea, like, is it really going to work? Is it really worth spending 3 years without like on detail more than anything else? But something like this, like a video editing, that's a proven proven concept. So I guess this time has just been about building a more solid foundation. So from that foundation, you can then kind of build.
Yes,
build on
exactly.
Top of that.
Yeah, a solid foundation. As long as that takes you, it's okay. And sometimes it's about quantity to get the quality. Like you need to try and try and try to get to the level you want. So it's great.
It's a lot of learning as well. Like just by even just doing a really bad job for clients, you learn so much from that. Like I wouldn't recommend that, but because especially if you have a brand and the reputation, but just in the early stages, you just need to learn so much. So all of that helps.
Very cool. And if somebody wants to hire your company, where can they find you guys, and how can they hire you?
Yeah, absolutely. We can book calls directly, like with me or one of my team, and we can just have a look through your channel. Or if you're thinking of starting a channel, we'll be happy to just have a talk and see if we're going to be a good fit for you. All the information is at editingmachine.com. and you'll see all the info and see examples of our work and everything there.
Love it. Thanks so much for coming on, Martin.
All right. Thanks very much.
Take care.
All right. Bye. Good to talk with you.
Bye.